In this installment, we will talk about the chemistry of reincarnation, and two elements in particular that are in the same group of the periodic table play an important role that you may soon understand: carbon and silicon. In order to understand the chemistry of reincarnation, we need to begin our journey in a very special desert. Dust storms are more important for all life on Earth than you may realize. These dust storms travel from Sahara, above the Atlantic Ocean, and reach their destination at the coast of South America. In fact, over 27 million tons of sand is dumped in the Amazon all the way from Sahara every single year. This sand that cannot bring forth any life in its native desert turns out to actually be a life bringer in this particular environment. This very smooth sand is actually, believe it or not, a perfect fertilizer for the Amazon basin. The plants, of course, that grow out of the soil in the Amazon, as we all know, produces oxygen from carbon dioxide in the air. Photosynthesis is without a doubt the most important chemical reaction to life on Earth. The series of chemical reactions that allow plants to harvest sunlight and create carbohydrate molecules. Here I will provide you the most basic summary of the photosynthesis process that can be shown with a net chemical equation. You have 6 carbon dioxide molecules combining with 6 water molecules, plus the energy of the sun, which is depicted by Planck's constant times the frequency of the sunlight, which provides a glucose molecule as well as 6 oxygen molecules. However, as much as you have been told that rainforests like the Amazon are the lungs of the Earth, in fact, none of this oxygen is going to be utilized by any other life form that isn't within the Amazon basin. Yes, none of the oxygen produced by these trees in the Amazon will actually benefit you who are outside of the Amazon in any real way. So why exactly is the Amazon rainforest so important for the life on Earth? Well, it has to do with a certain type of river. No, not the type of river you may be thinking of, the Amazon River, but another type of river. In the sky. You see, water is sucked in through the roots of the trees, eventually through the leaves of the trees. This water is evaporated into the sky. The suspended water is then traveling as if it is a river, thanks to the energy provided by the tropical sun. This enormous river of clouds travels throughout South America. That is, until they collide with the Andes, a huge mountain range. These clouds then condense and it starts to rain. The raindrops then fall down and hit the sides of the mountain range, and this water eventually makes it back down into the Amazon basin. The rock layers are eroded in the process, and the sediments travel with the water. All of these nutrients that are within the sediments then end up in the oceans. And the most important of all creatures in the oceans that are reliant on these nutrients is the diatom. These primitive life forms use silica to build shells around them. They are also capable of photosynthesis. These diatoms are so important for the oxygen supply of the planet that actually about half of all oxygen on Earth is due to these creatures alone. Diatoms are not just found in the tropical parts of the oceans though, but in all oceans, even in the Antarctic and Arctic. Let's take a look at the Arctic. As the glaciers of Svalbard are slowly melting, they move downwards towards the ocean. In the process, these immensely heavy pieces of ice are grinding up rock beneath them, which you know from previously is the perfect nutrient for diatoms. As the ice breaks and falls into the ocean, these ground up pieces of rock follow suit, providing sustenance to diatoms. However, eventually the nutrients run out and the diatoms die, but their important role continues on even though they're dead. As the diatoms die of starvation, their bodies collect into layers across all of the seafloor, and eventually, after millions of years, an area of the ocean may rise, becoming a new dry desert. This new desert brings forth dust storms that once again will blow across an ocean and land in a rainforest somewhere, such as the Amazon. And so, our circle is complete, and you now understand the chemistry of reincarnation, the cycle of silicon and carbon, and how these two cycles of these two elements are incredibly important for the oxygen we breathe every day, every hour, every minute, every other second. And as you go on with your day, remember the chemistry of reincarnation. When most people think of a chemical reaction, they usually think of something along these lines. You have your simple reactants, and they form your products, and that is the end of it. But in actuality, it usually looks like this, where the capital letters represent chemical species, and the italicized lowercase letters indicate their coefficients. In other words, there is a balance to everything.